ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, members and friends of the Committee of 100. Good morning. My name is Nelson Dong. I'm a long-standing member of the Committee of 100 and a partner at the Dorsey and Whitney law firm in Seattle. I have the distinct personal honor this morning to introduce the Committee of 100's 20th annual conference keynote speaker, the Honorable Gary Locke, U.S. Secretary of Commerce. I stress the term personal to all of you today and will therefore not read to you again his biography, which is in the materials and which is well known to many of us already. I have known Gary long before he was Secretary Locke, before he was Governor Locke, before he was King County Executive Locke, before he was Legislative Representative Locke. Gary and I have actually known each other now for 4 decades, and we have had many shared experiences in our lives. On that basis, as a prelude to his comments to us this morning, let me offer to you a very personal introduction of the man I have been proud to call a friend, a colleague, and a role model for 40 years. First, he is defined by his family, not merely by his lovely nuclear family of Mona, Emily, Dylan, and Madeline, but by his entire extended family. He often reflects on the immigrant experiences of his grandparents and parents and how they have shaped his values and his understandings of the world. I also deeply respect and admire his commitment to his 3 wonderful children and to keeping their lives as normal as it can possibly be for a busy cabinet secretary who must travel constantly. When he is in D.C., he is fiercely determined to be home for dinner with his whole family each night, to be there for his children's school events and activities, and to parent together with Mona. Long after all of his political offices are forgotten, his family will remember his abiding and committed love to them. Second, he is a loyal, thoughtful, and caring friend. Across the nation, around the world, through the generations, Gary has developed a wide circle of friends who share an extraordinary degree of respect and affection for him. He is certainly among his warmest friends here today at the Committee of 100, where he has spoken many times. Several years ago, he was in the middle of a very busy, very packed government meeting day when he suddenly called me on his cell phone and asked how I was doing as a bachelor recently moved to Seattle. I think it was far more a matter of our friendship than public service that he then offered to set me up on a blind date. Third, he has an incredible passion for fixing things, whether it's do-it-yourself projects in the home, the Washington State transportation system, or this nation's trade deficit. He has the curiosity and ingenuity to find practical solutions whenever he sees a problem to fix. My own son will never forget years ago when he came to our house in San Francisco. Only moments after he had arrived, he had already completely disassembled my bathroom sink because my son had dropped his toothbrush down the drain. Fourth, Secretary Locke's life is guided by a deeply held faith, partly religious and partly secular. He understands that only the spiritual faith can sustain us in our hours of deepest need, as when his own father, Jimmy Locke, recently passed away. But he also believes it is only our faith in the civic life of our nation and in ourselves that can lead to the creation of a better, more prosperous, and more peaceful world. Secretary Locke lives and works by those faiths. Therefore, I welcome to the podium today the 36th Secretary of Commerce and hopefully the next U.S. Ambassador to China and my dear friend, Gary Locke.
Wow, thank you very much, Nelson, for the really kind introduction. And it is great to see a lot of old friends here, folks that from around the country that supported me and campaigned for me when I I ran for governor in 1996 to friends that I've known for so many years. Nelson and I actually met at Yale. He was a law student there. I was a senior or junior at the time. And actually we met because I was teaching a course on darkroom techniques. I used to spend more of my time in the photographic darkroom than actually doing my studies. And we've had a really strong friendship and a deep friendship ever since. And it's really a pleasure and an honor to be before the Committee of 100, a group that has done so much to bring China and the United States closer together and to also expand opportunities for Chinese Americans here in this great nation. It's hard to believe that the Committee of 100 is celebrating its 20th anniversary. In some ways, it's such a young organization. In other ways, it makes a lot of us feel very, very old. But when we think about it, and the theme of the Committee of 100 conference this year is really some of the common values and common opportunities that exist between the United States and China. Clearly, the U.S.-China relationship has developed into one of the most important bilateral relations for America. And we are so intertwined as societies and as economies. We are the two largest economies in the world. The United States is the single largest country destination for exports from China. And of course, China alone is our third largest destination for American exports. We are the two largest emitters of greenhouse gases. China emits more, produces more, but they also have 3 times the population of the United States. We, the United States, per capita, produce more greenhouse gas emissions than any country in the world. So we really have not only close ties, not only are we bound by each other such that the economic policies of China affect the economy and the livelihood and the prosperity of Americans, but also vice versa. America has so much to offer the Chinese in terms of goods, technology, services that can help the Chinese leaders and the Chinese people achieve their aspirations and meet many of their goals. There are incredible win-win opportunities between the people of China and the United States. And we need organizations like the Committee of 100 to foster that greater cooperation and also appreciation of our heritage. We meet here today in the middle of Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, which gives us a special chance to reflect on our community and our legacy. You know, as some of you know, May was chosen as our Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month because it coincides with 2 important milestones in Asian Pacific history. The arrival of the U.S. of the first Japanese immigrants in 1843. That was in May of 1843. And May also marks the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869, thanks to Chinese laborers who helped build one of the greatest U.S. technological feats of the 19th century. And those Chinese laborers came from the hometown province of Nelson, myself, and so many of us here in the audience of Guangdong province, and more basically and more precisely, Taishan. Today and throughout this entire month, we commemorate the courage and the contributions of the early Asian Pacific Americans who made those voyages to America, who set up lives here against unbelievable odds and outright discrimination and even persecution. You know, my grandfather was one of those individuals. In the late 1890s, he came to America to work as a houseboy for a family in the state capital of Olympia, Washington, all in exchange for English classes. In 1997, I was sworn in as the 21st governor of the state of Washington, the first Asian Pacific American governor on the mainland of the United States. And we moved into the governor's mansion just 1 mile from the house where my grandfather swept floors, washed dishes, and helped cook meals. We joke that it took our family 100 years to travel 1 mile. But that's really a story that could only happen in America. And it's, our story is really the story of all Chinese Americans in this country. It's really the story of America. It is the story of America because America is a land of immigrants, whether we're first generation or 10th generation, whether our ancestors came from Europe, from Africa, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, from Asia. We are a land of immigrants, except for the Native Americans.